Hey, how's it going? This is Jerry Haron here to make another YouTube video. It is now time for a Jerry Haron read-along video. Another Jerry Haron read-along video, in which the book I'm reading, as you see, is called A Fine, Fine School by Sharon Creech, pictures by Harry Bliss. And this is an absolute classic book I really love a lot. I remember reading this in third grade all the time. I remember my grade 3 class had this book and I read it all the time. And I remember I used to borrow it from my local library all the time. I remember laughing a lot to it and it always making me smile when I was a kid. So I thought I'd go ahead and relive my childhood and read it to all of you and show you what book made me laugh a lot when I was a kid. I never owned this book, but I remember reading it in grade 3 and always borrowing it from my local library. It's the story of a principal who was very proud of his students and his school, and he wants to have school all the time, even on weekends, summertime, and Christmas time. But will all that continue where everyone has to go to school every day? Well, watch and find out. Let's begin. A Fine, Fine School by Sharon Creech. Pictures by Harry Bliss. Let's begin. Here is the inside title. It was digitalized by the Internet Archive in 2010. Once again, A Fine, Fine School by Sharon Creech. Pictures by Harry Bliss. Let's start. For Lyle, a fine, fine headmaster, SC, for Bill, Pete, and my fine, fine son, Alexander HB. Wonder who that is. Let's begin. Mr. Keene was a principal who loved his school. Every morning, he strolled down the hallway and saw the children in their classes. He saw them learning shapes and colors and numbers and letters. He saw them reading and writing and drawing and painting. He saw them making dinosaurs and forts and pyramids. Oh, he would say, aren't these fine children? Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school? Near Mr. Keene's school, Tilly lived with her parents and her brother and her dog, Beans, in a small house next to a big tree. On Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Tilly or Tilly, wherever it is. At school, Tilly learned her shapes and colors and numbers and letters. Sometimes when she saw Mr. Keene standing in the hallway, he waved. Aren't these fine children, he said to himself. Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school? On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, Tilly climbed her favorite tree, and she took Beans on walks and threw him sticks, and she pushed her brother on a swing and tried to teach him how to skip. I'm stuck. Get help. Let's go now, Beans. Be one with the skip. But on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Beans and her brother did not like to see her go. Hurry, hurry, hurry home, her brother called. One day, Mr. Keene called all his students and teachers together and said, this is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Saturdays too. The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that he was so proud of the children and the teachers and of all the learning they were doing every day. And so that Saturday, Tilly set off for school, but it's Saturday. What about the swings, her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keene announced, this is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Sundays too. The teachers and the students did not want to go on school on Sundays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so that Sunday, Tilly set off for school. Oh, but it's Sunday. What about the skipping, her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together and said, this is such a fine, fine school. I love the school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on holidays too. On Easter and Ramadan and Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah. On all the holidays on every calendar. The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on holidays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so on Christmas, Tilly set off for school. But it's Christmas. What about Christmas, her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together and said, This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school in the summer too. All summer long, every single day. But I'll be honest with you about that. There is a thing called summer school. It's not a thing in elementary school or middle school. Many people at high school take summer school to get extra credits to get their diploma, because you need all those credits to graduate high school. So people get extra credits so they can have better marks for university and college. And sometimes if a student fails a class in high school, they have no choice but to take summer school because they don't have the credit. They can't graduate. They need those credits to graduate. So summer school is a thing for high school students. How much will we learn, he said. We can learn everything. We will learn all about numbers and letters, colors and shapes, the Romans and the Egyptians and the Greeks. We will learn about dinosaurs and castles and everything. We will learn everything. The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays and all summer long, every single day. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that he was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so on the first day of summer, Tilly set off for school. But it's summer. What about summer? Her brother called. And that day, Tilly went to see Mr. Keene. She stood in his office in front of his desk. What a fine, fine school this is, Mr. Keene said. What amazing things everyone is learning. Yes, Tilly said. We certainly are learning some amazing things. A fine, fine school, Mr. Keene said. But Tilly said, not everyone is learning. What? Mr. Keene said. He looked very worried. Who isn't learning? Tell me, and I will see that they learn. My dog Beans hasn't learned how to sit, Tilly said, and he hasn't learned how to jump over the creek. Oh, Mr. Keene said. And my little brother hasn't learned how to swing or skip. Oh, Mr. Keene said. Wrong way, Beans. And she said, but you go to school, Mr. Keene said, to our fine, fine school. True, Tilly said, but I haven't learned how to climb very high in my tree, and I haven't learned how to sit in my tree for a whole hour. Oh, Mr. Keene said. That day, Mr. Keene walked up and down the halls looking at the children and the teachers. Up and down he walked, up and down, up and down. The next morning, Mr. Keene called everyone together. The children and the teachers were very worried, Mr. Keene said. This is a fine, fine school with fine, fine children and fine, fine teachers, but not everyone is learning. The children and the teachers were very, very worried. Mr. Keene said, there are dogs who need to learn how to sit and how to jump creeks. What did he mean? Was he going to make their dogs come to school? There are little brothers and sisters who need to learn how to swing and how to skip. What did he mean? Was he going to make their younger brothers and sisters come to school too? The children and the teachers were very, very worried. And all of you children and teachers, you need to learn how to climb a tree and sit in for an hour, Mr. Keene said. The children and the teachers were very worried. And so from now on, we will not have school on Saturdays or Sundays or holidays or in the summer. A huge, enormous, roaring cheer soared up to the ceiling and floated out the windows so that everyone in the town heard the fine, fine children, the fine, fine teachers teachers shout, fine, fine, fine. Teachers shout, fine, fine, fine. And the fine, fine children, the fine, fine teachers lifted Mr. Keene up. And they carried him down the hallway and out the doors and through the town, up and down, in and out, and everywhere they went, the people said, what a fine, fine school with such fine, fine teachers and fine, fine children and a fine, fine principal. And that's the end of our story. So yeah, this book is all about how its principal is so proud of their students and teachers, but still, they shouldn't make them go to school all the time because, you know, people need to stay home and have a moment, but still, that's why people get homework for the weekends. They do school from home. They do homework. And everyone wants to go on a summer vacation. But of course, make sure your schoolwork is done first. Because if you fail a class in high school, they're forced to take summer school because then you can't graduate. I hope all of you enjoyed the story about Fine, Fine School. I did too. It's a really big childhood favorite of mine. That's going to do it for this video. See you in my next video. This is Jerry Haron signing off.